Alright, what's going on, guys? If I were to survey a large group of people and ask them what they thought the best Souls-like game was that was not made by From Software, the answer would likely overwhelmingly be Lies of P. This game managed to capture the same feeling that From Software games give, creating this incredibly mysterious world with sharp and satisfying gameplay that innovated on the core From Software formula. And this has left everybody wondering, when will we get more? Well, with DLC confirmed and a sequel very well hinted at, today we're going to break down everything we know about when we'll finally get our hands on more Lies of P. And based off this information, it could be just around the corner. But no matter how much time we have until that release date, the sponsor of today's video is here to make that wait a little bit easier. Today's video is sponsored by War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle action game that has ever been made, and you can check it out today for free on PC and console. Jumping into War Thunder, you can take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships. The game goes the extra mile to get you immersed in these vehicles, with extreme levels of detail in how the vehicles are made, with vehicles ranging from World War II fighters to modern day MBTs. But one of the coolest details about War Thunder is the real-time X-ray damage, which shows you exactly what happened to your vehicle in a very realistic way. But jumping in today for free on any platform with my link will get you a massive bonus pack with exclusive Eagle of Valor decorations, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of a premium account. So check out War Thunder today and get this limited time bonus. But now back to the video. Let's start off today by talking about DLC for Lies of P, because this has officially been confirmed by the director of the studio himself. Back in October of last year, they dropped a director's letter, a long-form video from the director to fans, discussing things like patch notes, public reception of the game, as well as future plans. And in this director's note, they not only confirmed, but gave us a first look at the upcoming DLC for Lies of P, giving us 2 pieces of concept art, and you can see them on screen now. Taking a look at the first image here, we have a big room of vats and machinery, lots of fluid tanks, a big hole in the floor, and a very large container there in the middle that appears to hold someone or something in a sort of cryostasis. We can see ice forming along the edges and icicles hanging from the pipes above, and we can see our protagonist there on the left working at a desk, almost as if he's about to open or free whatever's inside. Now this gives me a lot of Alchemist vibes. It looks pretty similar to the alchemical experimental rooms we saw throughout the game, so perhaps we're dealing with an external faction of the Alchemist we didn't see, or more of their experiments that weren't directly touched upon in the base game. The second image is quite different. Here we have a shot of 2 boats in a northern sea, with what appears to be a sort of pirate ship having crashed into what looks to be a more sophisticated ship. We can of course see ice flows in the water as well as an aurora, but the impact has left a hole into the bigger ship, and we have our protagonist seemingly about to enter it. Now we don't have as much to go off of in this one. There weren't really any maritime or pirate themes in the base game, although we did take a submarine to get to Alchemist Island, so once again we could have more Alchemist stuff going on here. But those were all the details we got actually regarding the contents of the DLC, but they didn't give any details pointing towards a potential release date or window of when we might see that happen. However, we got some very interesting information from a financial report that came out from the studio's parent company, where they have the future pipeline for 2024, and you can see there very clearly Lies of P DLC is listed to release in the second half of 2024. That's not a news update date, that's not an expectation based on nothing, that is release date confirmation, very explicitly. Now the Korean fiscal year follows the calendar year, starting on January 1st and ending on December 31st, so unless any delays are announced, Lies of P DLC will release before December 31st. So what are some possible dates before then? Well, we have the 1-year anniversary of the game coming up in a few weeks, on September 19th. November is also a hot month for drops like this. I would say if we haven't heard news at least by then, that would probably be when they either tell us about it or shadow drop it, which I doubt they'd shadow drop, but at least a trailer or something. I also doubt they'd wait all the way until the Game Awards in December, but you never know. That's where we stand right now. We are currently in that second half of 2024 like it says, so keep your eyes and ears open. News could literally drop any day. But now let's talk about a sequel, because also in that director's letter, they did mention that they were working on development of their next game, and we actually have some fascinating insights on how that might be. But if you did beat Lies of P, then you'll know that the game ended on a pretty substantial cliffhanger, giving us this short teaser.
I have a final report on the Crot experiment.
You certainly took your time, Paracelsus. Your findings?
I think we have a new brother. A new type of humanity, so to speak.
There are many forms of eternal life.
It's intriguing and worth further observation.
Noted. And we'll have to get his arm back anyway.
I'm counting on it. Expect another report at the next meeting. Paracelsus returning. Ah, and when I return, I will find her. For sure. Another key of ours, Dorothy.
So just as Lies of P was a take on the Pinocchio fairy tale, this ending cliffhanger is very clearly teasing one about the Wizard of Oz, and of course Dorothy. However, as you can see there, it's still taking place in Krot, and we have a new alchemist, Paracelsus, talking about Pinocchio's arm. I would personally be a little disappointed if our setting stayed the same, because there is so much in the Wizard of Oz worth exploring. But in a recent interview, the director of Neowiz was asked this question of whether or not the tease of Dorothy is going to be the setting for a future game, or if that ties into the DLC. And essentially their answer was that they couldn't say for sure. But let's think about it for a second. If the DLC for Lies of P is going to be like any other Souls-like, then you shouldn't have to beat the game in order to access it. That way new items and weapons you get in the DLC can be used for the later half of the main game, which creates a fun and innovative loop. So it would be weird if Dorothy was in the DLC, and you could play it before beating the game, but still the post-credits hints at her. And again, with Wizard of Oz being such a lore-rich story, I would personally like to see it be its own full game, exploring that fairy tale in the same way Lies of P did, and perhaps Dorothy being our main character or player character. But leaving that aside for now, we have an interesting observation from a job posting which could hint at details of the next game and the style of game it's going to be. The job listing in Korean is looking for a field level planner and seeks somebody with extensive experience playing open world level games, and anyone with experience in creating a seamless world. The listing also states that they're looking for level design to act as a hub between dungeons. Now I find that really interesting, because level design was a big critique of Lies of P in that the game's levels appeared to be way too linear. You always play them in the same order, walking the same paths every time, with very minimal things to find that you won't run into naturally. Now I would personally doubt that they go full open world in their next game, but having potentially open field areas in between the different levels would be a smart choice to compensate for the players that wanted more out of Lies of P's levels, and perhaps Elden Ring's design had something to influence in that. But the fact that they're just now hiring for this position does indicate that it's going to be a long time before we see this next game. Yes, the DLC could drop any day now, but the sequel is probably at least 2 to 4 years off. With that though, if Lies of P as their first game is any indicator of the quality of what this sequel will be, we're in for a really good game. One that will absolutely be worth that wait, but that's all we know at the moment. I'm sure after the DLC comes out they'll be a little bit more open talking about what the sequel will entail, and that DLC might even have hints at it in the same way the base game did. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. What is your expectation for the DLC? And honestly, what was your opinion of the base game? Are you excited for a potential Wizard of Oz sequel? And when do you think we could finally see it? Once again, let me give a big thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Remember, you can jump in for free today and get your big bonus pack by using my link down below to get multiple premium vehicles, exclusive cosmetics, and lots of other bonuses and boosters before this limited time offer expires. And I will catch you over there on the battlefield. Either way though, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here. But with all that, I will catch you in the next one.